Good evening, Western Washington. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather. Hope everyone had a nice Tuesday. It was a bit smoky out there, so we're going to talk about that here in the video, in addition to the fire situation update and a look at the upcoming forecast. So starting here with the satellite imagery, you can see lots of smoke coming off the Labor Mountain fire, specifically there in northern Kittitas County there, going into Chelan County, and then the lower Sugarloaf fire and the Wildcat fire also producing some smoke, but the Labor Mountain fire by far the most active across the region today. You can see some smoke off the Bear Gulch fire there on the Olympic Peninsula as well. Taking a look at the fires, we have that fire weather watch in effect across parts of eastern Washington. You can see the Bear Gulch fire up to 19,823 acres, just a huge fire, largest on the Olympic Peninsula since the early 1950s. The Tunnel Creek fire a little bit further north there near Brennan, up to 515 acres. Wildcat fire is continuing to burn there to the northeast along Bumping Lake, very close to the town of Goose Prairie, and up to 9,411 acres. But the biggest growth in the last few days is the Labor Mountain fire here. You can see how it has two areas of burning there on the west and the east. And on the east side here, it is very, very close to US 97 and Blewett Pass, which has been closed until further notice there. You can see the Labor Mountain fire up to 13,353 acres. It has grown over 4,000 acres in the last few days here. And then you can see the lower Sugarloaf fire is just huge. It does have some containment on the west side, but the northern and southern sections of the fire have grown quite a bit. You can see it's up to 29,955 acres, almost to 30,000, largest fire in Washington this year. And you can see how close the southern part of it here is to the Entiat River Valley, so that is a concerning thing to see. In northeast Washington, we've been able to get some containment on the major fires up here, so that is good to see as well. Taking a look at the overall pattern, look at all this ridging going on across parts of the Pacific Northwest out into Alberta and Montana, and you can see that continues as we go into tomorrow, and then we continue having that ridging a little bit there on Thursday, but we start to get some troughing moving in by Friday there, and then we have a brief ridge moving through again this weekend before we open the door to more troughing as we go into Sunday and then into next week. And then if we look at the precipitation forecast here, you can see we remain dry Wednesday, and then on Thursday again we remain dry. We have systems to the north in British Columbia. Even on Friday there we have a little bit of troughing moving through, but none of that rain makes it farther south than Bellingham or the extreme northwest part of the northern Washington coast. And that's pretty much just how it is there. We get a little bit of showers potentially for the northern Cascades going into Sunday morning. And then we just continue to remain mostly dry, but we may have a system moving in here as we go into Monday midday there. If we look at the extended forecast, we can kind of see that there is that system showing up, that frontal system moving through Monday, and then we may have a brief break before more frontal systems going into Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe a rainy start to October there, another front possibly up to next Thursday. So we're looking pretty far out in the extended forecast, about 10 days out, but there is potentially a signal toward a wetter start to October, which is good to see because we really need that for all these fires. And then you can see here precipitation through next Monday, very, very little. Monday at 11 a.m. you can see it has a little bit on the coast there, that about a half inch on the north coast starting to fall there. But overall, the rest of the region, barely anything. You see a couple hundredths of an inch of drizzle there across the Puget Sound area, and maybe a tenth of an inch or so for Whatcom County. But that is it. You can see that storm track for areas of British Columbia north of Vancouver and all that. But as we go into next week, we may hopefully get some more rain, and we'll keep watching this forecast over the next few days to see how that goes. But what we really want to take a look at right now is smoke. So you can see this is smoke aloft going into this evening. A lot of smoke coming off the fires in central Washington. That pushes north, but as we go into Wednesday morning, you can see that smoke starts to push out of western Washington. We may get some smoke off the Bear Gulch fire, and the Labor Mountain fire is likely going to grow to the east quite a bit, potentially crossing US 97. Bear Gulch fire has a little bit of smoke, and then we repeat the same thing there on Thursday. This forecast ends Thursday morning, but we could have some really big growth on the Labor Mountain fire Thursday afternoon. But that by Thursday afternoon, air quality the skies are clear across western Washington. And you can see we have a lot of surface smoke across western Washington right now, especially the east side has had pretty bad air quality today. But you can see as we go through tonight, that will get a little bit better there. The surface smoke remains in a lot of the Cascades and in some of the foothills as well, and most areas from Olympia south. We're going into early Wednesday morning. But as we go through the day Wednesday, you can see that surface smoke generally gets out of the lowlands, and we remain with that getting out of the lowlands all the way through into Thursday morning. And you can see by the time we get to Thursday midday there, most of Western Washington all of Western Washington has no surface smoke except right around the Bear Gulch fire, and then you can see some of those plumes off the fires in eastern Washington blowing off to the east as well. So by Thursday, it looks like we are in a much better situation in terms of air quality across Western Washington. Taking a look at the purple air map here, you can see once it loads, yeah, it's not a very good situation right now. You can see where those fires are in central Washington, Chelan and Kittitas counties. They're having some pretty bad air quality. But zooming in on the Puget Sound area, and you can see areas from Tacoma down to Olympia in the unhealthy for sensitive groups to unhealthy categories, moderate air quality to unhealthy for sensitive groups in parts of King and Pierce County. But take a look at the east side from North Bend there down to Bellevue and Kirkland and Renton as well. Air quality in the unhealthy for sensitive groups to unhealthy categories. I mean, you can see up to 150 there around Lake Sammamish. So really not a good situation there. And you can see along US 2 as well, getting some of that bad air quality coming in. But you can see in areas closer to the Sound, good air quality there up toward Admiralty Inlet, Whidbey Island on the Strait, and then up north in Whatcom and Skagit counties. Generally pretty good air quality up there, but most of the state not doing very well today, including parts of the metro area. But that, again, as we just saw, will change as we go into tomorrow and especially into Thursday. Taking a look at temperatures coming up the next few days. So here's Wednesday's high temperatures. You're looking at high Seattle northward in the upper 60s to low 70s. Seattle southward in the mid to upper 70s. Mid 80s potentially around Portland. And then the coast in the mid 60s. We cool down a decent bit on Thursday. There was some more clouds. Highs from Seattle northward in the low to mid 60s. Mid to upper 60s. Seattle southward. Low 70s around Portland. And then low 60s. Maybe some upper 50s even on the coast. We warm up a bit more on Friday, highs in the upper 60s to low 70s for most of western Washington, mid 60s on the coast, and then mid 70s around Portland. Going into the weekend, you can see upper 60s to mid 70s across the region. That cools down a little bit as we go into Sunday with some more upper 60s across western Washington. And then going into Monday, we may have some systems coming in. It brings the temperatures all the way down to the low to mid 60s across the entire region. And you can see that continues into Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. So we'll keep watching that, but it will likely cool down next week. Taking a look at the temperature outlook, we will likely remain above average for September, end of September to early October here. You can see above average across almost the entirety of the United States, and that does include the Pacific Northwest. But good news here, you can see end of September to the beginning of October, and that above average signal is showing up there for the precipitation, which is nice to see because we really do need that rain quite a bit. And then I just want to point out again, it is getting colder, so long sleeve shirts may be something you want to have. And we have these 3 nice long sleeve shirt varieties here on the Western Washington Weather merch store. Got a premium long sleeve shirt, just a normal long sleeve shirt, and then the tie-dye Western Washington Weather shirt as well. I just had someone I know buy this shirt, and it does look pretty cool. So check those out. Link is in the description below to the merch store. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Western Washington Weather. You can check out channel memberships, super comments, and stuff like that if you'd like to monetarily support the channel as well. And then you can follow the Western Washington Weather Facebook group and my Blue Sky and Twitter accounts as well. So thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned to the next few days as we keep looking at what may be coming up next week in terms of rain, and I will talk to you all later.